Welcome back to another episode of Metal Meets Basic. Oh my god, don't you love awkward silence? I'm just like looking deep into your eyeballs. I'm just like, who's gonna do it?
I don't know who's gonna say what. Someone was supposed to say something kind of cool and witty, and nobody said anything, and we just sat there
Awkward.
staring at each other. That's weird. But anyways, I hope everybody had a fantastic fucking week.
I hope you guys survived winter break, which is why you are here and you are well. That's all I care about. Where are my people? Right here.
Where are my people? I survived.
I survived. I was up for tribute and I did not want to be.
I volunteered tribute.
No.
I will sacrifice myself for the greater good, for the bigger cause.
I just want y'all to know my coochie said, let us have children, and it wasn't really my choice. My uterus was like, it is time.
It is time.
Fuck, dude.
That's terrible.
I know. Speaking of children, I have an interesting Am I the Asshole? It says, should I speak up or mind my own business? Apologies in advance, as this is going to be long. My brother-in-law, 28, and his wife, 30, have been married for almost 4 years. Her family comes from money, and we do not. Her family is quite judgmental, and they treat us, for the most part, like trash. Even when they got married, only 4 people from his side was invited to the ceremony and were seated to the side of the church behind a pole. She's always made it known that once they have kids, the child or children wouldn't be allowed at my in-laws' home because they smoke inside and the home isn't the cleanest. They would instead bring the child or children to my home instead. Okay, fine, whatever. 2 years ago, though, in September of 2020, she treated me really badly and allowed her friends to also treat me badly. So I ended my relationship with her. In the meantime, they struggled to conceive and had to go through IVF. The IVF took on the first try, and she gave birth in August of 2022. My husband and I sent them flowers and a small gift for the baby via mail. She reached out to me. She apologized for her behavior. I accepted the apology and just wanted to move forward. In November, she put her baby, a girl, in a beauty pageant. She did not invite my mother-in-law, 56. She didn't invite her to Thanksgiving either. And yesterday, the baby got christened, and her parents stood with her, my brother-in-law and the baby, during the christening service, but my mother-in-law wasn't permitted to stand with them. Afterwards, there was a kneel in the fellowship hall, and every time my mother-in-law was holding the baby, somebody would come up and take the baby from her. My husband's little sister, 19, said something to her brother about it, and he didn't seem to really care and just made an excuse about how the baby was just being loved a lot. My husband's sister also said that my brother-in-law's wife and friends were picking on hers and my mother-in-law's outfits. She also stated that no one really spoke to her, my mother-in-law, or her mom, 84. Yes, the baby's great-grandmother. However, when my husband and I are around the family, they are extremely kind. I'm allowed to hold the baby for as long as I so choose. The family hugs us when they see us. They speak kindly to us, and as opposed to not speaking to my mother-in-law at all. The question is, should I say anything? I don't like this mean girl mentality that they have going on, but I was just welcomed back into the family after 2 years, and I don't want to lose access to the baby. Should I mind my own business? I honestly feel like if my husband and I had been there yesterday, we were invited, but he was sick. Maybe this wouldn't have happened.
So,
I'm gonna call bullshit.
Wait, why was she just let back into the family 2 years?
I guess from this story, she apologized once they received the gift that they had sent her for having a baby, I guess.
Well, what was the reason that they stopped talking?
She said that they had treated me badly and allowed her friends to treat me badly. So I ended my relationship with her.
Oh, okay. So sorry.
No, you're probably just higher than a kite, my friend. what I'm here for.
I was listening to that whole story and I was like envisioning it all in my head. And then I was like, wait a minute, she just got back left. She just got back into the family. Wait a minute,
at least
what the fuck happened?
side.
What did I miss?
Yeah, at least on this side of the family. But it's not even like her mother-in-law, it's her brother-in-law and the wife, like this segment of the family.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like she's particularly close with her family if she's like this caught up in their family drama, though.
Or maybe like with mine, it's a very different family dynamic. So it's a little bit harder to understand, which, coming from someone who has in-laws, it's or is married in general, because I'm sure my husband definitely is like, bitch, your fucking family is nuts.
I feel like there's a difference between thinking your family is nuts or thinking your significant other's family is nuts, and then getting to be a front row spectator to disrespect. You didn't just, yes, you married the person, but if that person has a healthy relationship with their family, you're also marrying into that family. Mm-hmm. It's not just you, your significant other, and children or child, whatever. It's everyone. Mm-hmm. I think she should tell that bitch off. I'm gonna name that bitch Karen. Karen, you better knock your shit off before I knock your teeth out.
If I'm being honest, I don't think we have the whole story. I feel like this is a multifaceted story, and maybe they have their reasons. Maybe they are just being stingy.
The only reasons that they had was that they like smoke in the house and that they're not the cleanest. So I'm like envisioning like this guy who just came from like almost nothing. Mm-hmm. And then I'm envisioning him marrying like a high-end woman, a high-maintenance woman who probably, like she said, comes from money. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking like rags meets riches, and then they married and have a family.
Makes sense.
But I think you're right. We don't have enough information, but based off of this alone, I'd say deck that bitch in the face and then tell her to start playing nice.
And I would just be like, mind your business.
Don't you love how we literally come to the opposite conclusions?
Well, okay, like if it has nothing to do with you and nobody else is asking for your assistance or your cooperation in this, or is giving you like actual fact or intel, so to speak, then why are you stepping in on someone else's business? Like, sure, you're a part of their family and stuff, but to me, it's just like, that doesn't involve me. So why would I involve myself?
This is where we differ, because I'm always ready to fight. I actually had this conversation with my tattoo artist today, too.
Oh, my God.
I'm always ready. Let's go. I also want to know what they were like when they were dating. Because this behavior cannot possibly be new.
No.
And they've been married for 4 years. This isn't new news.
Unless he's that oblivious, which, if I'm being honest, some men are that oblivious and are just, like, what if, okay, so take the fucking christening, for instance, right?
Right.
She said the reason why they couldn't hold the baby was because, the baby's just being loved a lot. And they heard that from the brother-in-law, right?
Right.
So what if he went up to his wife and was like, hey, like, my family's not really getting that much attention with the baby. Like how come they can't hold him? And she comes around and she's just like, oh, there's just a lot of people that are just loving on the baby right now. So yeah. Maybe their time will come again. So to him, he goes back to his family and he's just like, oh man, there's just a lot of people here that just want the baby's attention. So, yo, I'm sorry. Like, what if he really is that oblivious and just
his wife's a bitch? I hope she's not a bitch, because there usually is at least one asshole in the relationship.
Well, some people or some men are they very much go towards those like women who are very what's the word I'm looking for?
Bitches.
Controlling.
That's a good one. It's much kinder.
They're very like that was my dad. Like if we're being fucking real, dude, like that was my dad and my mom. My dad very much was like would be like go to my mom face value. He would take what she said and at face value and he was like, "Oh, okay." Like, you know, and that was just him. He would just take things at face value. My mom was very controlling. Morgan was very controlling. And so there are just some men out there that they like that. You can't really fault them for what they like.
No, you can't. I just think that's really sad too. Like, you want to be able to stand up for yourself. And when you start mixing together and you create a family
Mm-hmm.
and your extended family, because they're no longer your immediate family, they're considered extended family after you create your own. I just like feel really bad because like if they want that relationship and then it just sounds like they take the brutality of this woman and like how she's perceiving them out to be something that they may or may not be. We obviously don't know. We don't know them. But it just is like really sad. Like a great grandma, like nobody even conversed. Like, how do you invite only 4 people from that person's like side of the family to the wedding and then seat them behind the pole at the church? Like, bro.
Yeah. That's sus.
That's some shitty.
But either way, we don't know. And as far, I mean, you say confront her, I say mind your business. We did not agree on this one, apparently.
We rarely do. We rarely agree. I'm like, cut that bitch. Confront the hoe.
You know, there's this thing called kill them with kindness. And I just realized that that's just a code word for passive aggressive. Just be passive aggressive. Fuck them.
Or you could just slash 3 of their tires and put sugar in their fucking
Each their own. Potato.
Rob them blind.
Tomato.
Whatever. They mean the same thing. Speaking of vicious brutality.
I mean, not necessarily vicious brutality, but I mean, with the certain types of people that we have encountered that are this. Sure. So, coming into the end of January, we're coming into Aquarius season. And we're going to give you guys your due diligence and we're going to shout you guys out. So, born between January 20th and February 18th, the sign of Aquarius is represented by the water bearer. More times than they care to admit, they're often mistaken for a water sign. But that's far from fact.
Oh,
right?
God. Yes.
Because, in fact, Aquariuses are notorious for detaching away from their emotions. Not that they find emotions to be useless, they just are not naturally emotional people. They're known as the truth tellers of the zodiac because in the water bearer, the water coming from the vase that's pouring out in the symbolism is a symbolism for truth telling. Fun fact, I bet y'all didn't know that.
Isn't that also on the star card? Isn't that who they are?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. Because it's also so funny that you bring up the star card because they're
not the star. They ain't the star.
No,
I will hold my tongue until the end.
They represent hope.
Hope to destroy your heart.
Jesus Christ, this isn't the Death Star. Okay, calm down. Aquarius is the last of the air signs and is known as a fixed sign. So under the influence of its ruling planet Uranus, or Uranus, as I like to say, Aquarian people are seen and perceived to be liberal, progressive, and yet fixed in opinion. Another quality of Aquarius is that you refuse to compromise. The downside to this is that if and when you are wrong, you deliberately refuse to recognize that your idea was shit. So,
who does that sound like? Who does that sound like?
You know exactly who that sounds like.
A cup of Joe.
You would rather sabotage yourself than admit that you were wrong. As a student of human behavior, Aquarians have a great tolerance for stupid shit. You're the humanitarians. Humans can do no wrong unless you're an Aquarius, then in your eyes, you're never wrong. Aquarius.
I don't know why, but that's just really funny. Because
it's like so true.
Spot on for every Aquarius man and woman I know.
No. So Aquarius rules the 11th house, which rules over our friendships, oddly enough. Beneath your detached, unemotional exterior beats a stubbornly loyal heart, completely free of malice. No one is a truer or finer friend than an Aquarius.
Fucking
that
lies.
right there, because you are a no strings attached type of person. You don't allow room for anyone to become dependent on you. I guess this is why Aquariuses aren't quite, they're quite lame in the romance department, because independence is so important to you. You will sacrifice even the most close and personal relationships to you in order to maintain that freedom. Y'all are worse than Sagittariuses, and that is saying something. You are like Peter Pan. You want to escape the past and just keep moving forward until morning light. Also, Wendy was never able to land that, even though she tried. I mean, he gave her a thimble, not an actual kiss, as a kiss.
Enough. It wasn't enough.
But it was enough for him, right?
Weak ass hoe.
Weak ass hoe. Most Aquarians go into politics or do some sort of work in social causes. Your main interest is in creating an idea, and in that idea is this grandiose scheme to improve the way things are. You are the astrological sign of hopes and dreams. This is a perfect little snippet of the star card in the tarot, because in the star card in the tarot is a representation of someone's hopes and dreams. Isn't that crazy?
I just want you to know, if there was ever a sign that I would be willing to sacrifice to appease the gods,
it's an Aquarius?
As a collective, it'd be an Aquarius. And if you're an Aquarius and you're listening to this, I don't give a fuck. Sorry. Continue.
I'm so you have an innate pull towards following those dreams. As forward thinking as y'all are, you despise hard work. In fact, you would rather use your creativity and imagination to come up with a new utopian scheme and let others grapple with the hard realities. You have a reputation for being eccentric and more times than not argumentative. Not because you feel deeply, but more so for the mental exercise you get from it. You get bored way too fast and take delight in provoking anyone who can consider anyone you consider boring and dull. Nevertheless, Aquarians are some of the kindest people in the world. Really easygoing, reasonable, never mean-hearted, and are the live and let live type of people. You are honest and helpful, and best of all, never boring. So happy birthday to all the Aquarians out there. Here are some honorable mentions.
Ooh.
So we got Jennifer Aniston, John Belushi.
That hoe?
Yes.
No, not my girl, Jen.
Yep.
I mean, dogging all the Aquarius, and your first one is one of my faves.
Okay. Girl, there's a long list on here that are actually Aquariuses that
that really makes me sad.
So we got John Belushi, Lewis Carroll, James Dean, Charles Dickens, Christian Dior, Paris Hilton, Michael Jordan, Alicia Keys, Eartha Kitt, Heath Ledger,
What the fuck?
Jack Lemmon, Abraham Lincoln, my favorite out of all of these bitches, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
I am
Love that
shook
name.
right now.
Yoko Ono, Ronald Reagan, Burt Reynolds, Jackie Robinson, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Babe Ruth, Tom Selleck, Justin Timberlake.
No.
John Travolta.
I refuse. I refuse. What in this list? You're
John
banned.
Travolta, Oprah Winfrey, and Elijah Wood.
Not Frodo.
Yes, Frodo. But can we just take a second to admire the name Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart? Like, if I had my way, I swear to God, I would have a kid and name him Wolfgang Amadeus.
No, you would not.
Bitch, test me because I would. I you know what's so funny is I've always been a really big fan of Mozart, and if you ever got to know like Mozart's background, he is an Aquarius to a T. He was a protege. Like he started like composing symphonies at the age of like 5.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm not fucking like he was a legitimate protege. Like he was a born legend. And this man
no
was
pressure to the next 5-year-olds.
Like he was so flighty. He was so whimsical. He never followed the rules. He didn't give a shit about nobody. And he thought he was hot shit. I fucking love Wolfgang. I love his name, Wolfgang Amadeus. Oh, I don't know what it is about
knew what was up, apparently.
I have no idea what it is about that name, Amadeus. I don't know. Sorry. I love the name.
I'm just like really upset about this list. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You started off strong, and I'm just like, God, because why are you talking like shit? Like, fuck you, Aquarius, on a personal level in the deepest parts of my pinche soul. Like, fuck you.
Yeah. You're gonna sacrifice Eartha Kitt. Are you gonna do that?
I just like John Travolta,
bitch.
Like, that's the homie. I'd still fuck him.
Oh my God.
I don't like you named like at least 3 fucking presidents, bro.
No,
Babe Ruth, yeah. Abe Lincoln, Ronald Reagan.
Oh shit,
Roosevelt.
I did.
And Alicia Keys, and you know that bitch. That's fucking Penelope's go-to.
Want nothing at all.
We was singing 2 different songs, bitch.
Sorry, that's the song that comes in my head every time I think of Alicia Keys.
That Girl on Fire, because that's Penelope's favorite song. She thinks she's that girl on fire.
I guess so. But shit. Happy birthday, Aquariuses.
Happy birthday. Despite my hatred for y'all, continue to breathe and produce hope.
Did you know Aquariuses are the least populated zodiac sign? I don't know how to phrase that, but there's
a reason for that.
Yeah, because their conception time is actually
May.
Wow, not a lot of people are having sex in May.
It's like Mother's Day.
That explains it.
That's because like a lot of people are having babies around that time.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. You are right.
So they are popping them babies out. Like I think I had this conversation about birthdays, like how Sophia has only been invited to 2 birthdays. One was in November and one was in January. But
you know what?
We know for a fact we'll have a lot more birthdays come the spring.
You know what's also funny is that Virgos have the most birthdays out of the zodiac, and the most popular birthdays are September 19th, September 6th, and
isn't that like Christmas time area? Like where you guys be
fucking? New Year's.
Yeah. Everybody be
Yeah.
litty.
I was a Christmas Eve baby. That's when I was conceived. You're welcome.
I was born in March, so I don't know. I got September, nope. July.
4th of July.
Mm-mm.
Are you a 4th of July baby?
I doubt it.
Maybe
I
it
was
was
also
a
a week
rodeo.
late. My dad was in the rodeo. He used to bull ride.
Is that what attracted your mom to him?
No.
Oh.
She was best friends with his sister.
Oh.
My mom was also very young. I think my mom was beautiful, but she like didn't have like greatest self-esteem. You know. But I think my mom made easy prey. And she was much younger than him. Mm-hmm. My mom has only ever known him since like middle school. So she had only ever been with him. Yeah, and then some shit. I'm like, girl, you didn't go out in the world and get some good dick. You got fucking trapped, bitch. She got trapped. I was like, I didn't do that. But I got good dick. Got good dick, Mom. Don't worry, I made it up for the both of us.
Oh my goodness.
I'm really excited about this topic today, but like how to start a podcast. So speaking of podcasts, tell me how Murder 420 is going. What is popping? I'm so excited for you.
It's going really good. I launched on or relaunched. It's a relaunch. On the 12th of January. So I'll be uploading new episodes every Thursday. So far it's been really great. I've got way more plays than I thought was actually going to happen, but
everybody wants to smoke weed with you.
Everybody
and
wants
talk about
to
conspiracies.
Get stoned and mind blown and talk about some weird ass shit, dude.
I know.
Love it.
Dude, but you posted some really cool TikToks lately. I want to talk to you about that vampire one.
Okay.
What the fuck was that shit?
So you noticed that you couldn't see it on camera, right?
No, it looked blur. Like I could see a shift,
like
but I couldn't see
the water moving as to where someone should be standing there.
Yeah.
Or doing something there, but there was like no figure whatsoever.
There was nothing.
So like that goes into vampire lore of vampires can't be caught on film. Or they
have no reflection.
So on and so forth, bitch. You can only record something that's quote unquote got a goddamn soul or some shit. I don't fucking know. But anyways. So it goes into that kind of like lore of vampirism and stuff like that. But like I was watching it, I was like, yo, there's no fucking way. But then that figure just fucking walked out like if like the tra-la-la, like nothing fucking happened. Like it's a goddamn Tuesday.
Yeah.
And Bob
I'm on my way home from work.
And like Bob and Billy are up to the same old shit that they've been up to for like the last 5 years, you know? So like it was just really weird. It caught my attention and I was like, you know what? This is perfect because this is what we talk about on the podcast, you know? And here's the thing. So going into how to start a podcast, I'll tell you about my podcast journey. Okay. I actually started podcasting back in 2018. And I started with Murder on the 420 Express, but I started it with our old friend Mandy. It was actually her idea. And I thought this was really fun. I go back on this all the time. I think it's really funny that people bring me these ideas of like, oh, hey, I want to start a podcast. And all right, cool. What do we do? Well, I don't know. All right.
I don't know.
Okay. So, how do we get everything on there? So I was the one that had the laptop. Mandy bought these little spherical microphones that kind of look like that little blue Yeti that you had.
Oh yeah.
The snowball Yeti. But it was like so much tinier than that. Okay. So much tinier.
Did those work?
They did work. Yeah. When you go back and listen to the audio and how shitty it sounds.
Define worked and what was productive. Got it.
It was so shitty, dude. But so she had the concept of murder on the 420, right? Which was we get stoned and mind blown and we talk about crazy shit. That was literally it. And we've kept the same slogan this whole time. And I was like, all right, cool. And she's like, and I want the title, like the name of the podcast to be Murder on the 420 Express, kind of going off of Murder on the Orient Express. But anyways, she was like, I don't know how to edit anything. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. And I was like, well, you're in luck because I used to fiddle with this shit when I was in high school. So like all the audio recordings and like the programs that I used to volunteer for that had audio, like the AV tech type of things, like I learned how to do this stuff growing up. And so it wasn't that far off for me. And I was like, all right, don't worry about it. So I got it. So we started recording and producing that show. And this was back in 2018. We stopped recording just shy of like 2019. Or like in the middle.
Did you make it a year yet?
I want to say no. We didn't even make it a year. And it wasn't because the podcast wasn't blowing up, but because it was. What really set us off was our Ted Bundy episode, because this was divine timing. We had no idea that there was a new movie with Zac Efron coming out where he was portraying Ted Bundy. I don't remember what the fucking movie title is. Why? Because it's too fucking long. It is too long of a goddamn movie title. We all know it. Zac Efron played Ted Bundy
fine. So
in this movie.
I mean, I didn't even watch the movie. I would have, but like,
it's really good.
Gore.
It is.
Do you think it portrayed him pretty well?
Gore.
Really? I didn't know that. I just know a serial killer. Not me. I don't do scary.
No, there's no gore in it, like at all. It normally just follows his trial, and that's about it. And like the events that they're alleging he did, but we all know he did. But anyway, so during that time, we were gonna be doing a serial killer episode. We broke it up into seasons essentially, and this was a part of our serial killer season. And during that time, the Ted Bundy movie was being released, and we had no idea. So when we released the Ted Bundy episode, we got so many hits on it. Like I think it had, for us, okay, for me, this is a lot, which is like over 2,000 plays for that one.
That is a lot.
Episode. And so that's what really kind of put us on the map a little bit. And unfortunately, it all came to a halt. And that had to do with a lot of workplace drama. Essentially,
was this pre or post me?
It was because.
Oh.
It was not pre or post.
It was because of me.
Yes. And
you guys, I'd like to give my formal apology to my best friend Lisa, also known as Elle, on this podcast.
It honestly isn't your fault, because she told me flat out, she's like, if you want to keep it going, you're more than welcome to, but I have to step back. She's like, I cannot participate in this and keep my job. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did one episode without her. And after that, I lost all motivation, you know?
Yeah.
And so
let's be honest, you didn't lose just motivation because she wanted to stop, but despite everything, like she had been your best friend in the workplace and then out in the real world. And it was like y'all's baby together.
Yeah.
So it's so sad.
It's a hard subject to talk about or even to just comprehend at the moment. Just, you know.
Yeah.
But after I had Josie, me and Mandy decided to get back together and relaunch it. And so we did. And that was in 2020 when we
right at the
relaunched
hit of
it.
COVID.
At the during
Beginning.
COVID.
Yeah.
Because this was after I had Josie. I had
Gotcha.
Josie in May of 2020. So this was probably the summer. And then going in towards like fall, we only recorded about like maybe 4 or 5 episodes, I want to say. And then going into it again, because she agreed to it, she's like, I would love to get it back up and running and so on and so forth. I was like, all right, cool. I got an actual fucking microphone this time and I set everything up. And then she told me after like the 5th episode, I had to reschedule on her. I was like, I don't know what happened, but I had to reschedule on her. And then after that, she was just like, look, I don't think either one of us wants to do this anymore. So that's when it stopped. She didn't want to do it anymore. She's like, I don't have the time, nor do I have the passion to do this anymore. So sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, cool. What I'm salty about, and this is what I'm salty about, is during the time that we actually started the podcast, if we remain consistent in posting and also in content as far as social media goes, there is not a fucking doubt in my mind that we would probably be up there in one of the top creators for true crime podcasts, because there's not a podcast like that out there. There's not a podcast out there that like where you get stoned and mind blown and you fucking talk about creepy, kooky shit. I have yet to see one like that.
It's always there. Like one or the other. It's never them at the same time.
No, never. And which is funny because Bailey Sarian started doing her shit back in like 2018,
forever ago.
2019, like her Murder Makeup Mystery Monday gig. Yeah, that she
I saw that first on YouTube before she blew up.
Yeah, so she's like, I just started this, and she was in it for a year, and then she started like after a year of just doing it consistently, she blew the fuck up.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm so salty about, is because I was telling Mandy, I was like, listen, this and this and this and this needs to be done if we want to be serious about this and actually make a living off of it. And there are these steps, and sometimes it's really hard when you don't see like progress right away, or the kind of progress that you want to be seeing. But that's why I'm so salty, because we had an actual chance and it was blown because it just didn't align with the other party. And
do you think your window for opportunity to succeed has like diminished? I know. I was like trying to think of like what I was gonna fucking say, and I was like, man, I'm a little slow today.
Do I think my window has diminished?
Yeah.
No.
So you gonna get back up on that horse and ride it into the Creepyville? I'm so proud of you. Like, you really have been like sitting with this for, I want to say like what, like 8 or 9 months.
I keep going
consistently.
Back to it.
Yes. And it's time. It's time for you to put your dream to fucking work for you. I know, because you do have a history with podcasts. That's like why I came to you. And I was like, God, I feel like my life is just too funny for me not to share with the fucking world. Like, I ought to have a show.
That's what I'm
and then
saying.
I was like, not even just that, like, who the fuck else is a part of these goddamn shenanigans? Elle, Elle is a part of these goddamn shenanigans. That's who. And so I'm just like, I gave you the idea for Metal Meets Basic. This was like years ago. When you were doing, what was it? Like
you were trying to help me with I tried, bitch, leave me alone. I tried to become a makeup artist. Leave me alone. And I was like, what sounds like me? Because I was thinking of a new rebranding myself, because I was always Lily Vengeance. That was always my shit. That was my shit. And I was rebranding, and you were just like, why don't you just do Metal Meets Basic?
Because it's so like us.
So yo. You're like totally metal, and you can be so basic. Like with your Starbucks. White mocha.
This is before you found DB, though. That's for sure. But I'll say, when we were talking about it, you're like, what the fuck would we talk about? Literally nothing is off limits. Like, we could have a conversation about eggplants, uncut cut. We could talk about dirty shit. We could talk about my laundry and how it's still sitting in a basket and it hasn't even been folded. So, like, I know that we have a really great step-by-step. Choosing your topic and format is usually like the first one. You got to figure out your niche.
Yeah.
Figuring out your niche is not as easy as people think it is. I thought it was really difficult because I was like, man, like, our lives are not one subject.
Well, for our podcast, yeah, sure. It's a little bit harder to find that niche, which is why we lie perfectly inside of a lifestyle podcast.
Yes.
And so if you yourself, the listener, also have the same kind of concept or idea of like to make a podcast like Metal Meets Basic, you're going to have to go broader first before you narrow down your niche. You know?
Yeah.
Because that's what we did. We had to, like, our first few episodes were about women and their periods and the women's rights movement and Roe versus Wade and all that shit. Like, that was the first part of our podcast, which is kind of unusual because it's more political in a sense, but we're not a political podcast.
And we're personally not even really all that political in real life, but we did find that it was important to talk about those things because we are not just women, but we are mothers, and we are mothers to daughters. And we do have a lifestyle, but lifestyle subjects, I feel like we also have to face the music, and those are subjects that can be very difficult and uncomfortable to talk about. So yeah, finding your niche is hard. Like Elle said, start broad, and then as you progress, I feel like, it just comes naturally, like where you're at. You figure out what subjects are great for you. What can you sit there and talk about on and on and on and on and on, and fucking hone in on that.
Not get sick of your own ramblings.
Yes.
You know? But
it's definitely.
But finding your niche and like really just honing in on that.
I also think when we're speaking on that part too, if you're doing a podcast with a partner, you both need to be on the same page. You and I have been best friends for like over 10 years. So I feel like it was pretty easy for us to come together to create ours. But people who are maybe not know each other that long, or maybe you guys had, different backgrounds, different point of views, the type of friends that might fight a little bit more than usual, it might be a little harder for you to come to an agreement.
I have found that the podcasts that I really like to listen to, it's so funny you say that when you have hosts, right? Think of like Mile Higher. It's a wife and a husband, and her cousin comes in every now and then. So it's like a tight-knit circle. Right. And then you have Morbid, which is a niece and an aunt. but they're so close in age, like me and
Like
Tesla.
you and Tesla?
Yeah, and they have the
Jinx.
same interest in like true crime and stuff like that. So it's so funny that you say that, like the relationship that you have with your co-host, it kind of needs to be, you know, more than just surface level in order for it to be like an organic type of conversation, something that's very authentic, which is a really big thing. If you have not noticed, it's like all over social media and whatever platform you're on, you're always seeing something in relation to post authentically, be your authentic self, embrace your authenticity.
How else can you be authentic with some complete stranger that you know nothing really about?
Oh, hell no, dude. I'm hella guarded. I'm jaded as fuck.
Mm-hmm. You just heard me on a whole ass fucking podcast say if I could sacrifice a fucking zodiac
Aquarius.
sign, it'd be them. I wouldn't be able to say that to just like any regular person. I'd be like, oh, ha ha, they're just so full of hope to kill you. What did I say that out loud?
Did I
My
say
bad.
that out loud? My bad.
Didn't mean it. No,
Lord
I
have
did.
mercy. So, the second step in launching a podcast is actually your recording equipment, which, funny enough,
So important. We have personally gone through us alone. We have gone through so many fucking mics just
yeah,
so that we can sound good.
can I just say it's just because we're cheap?
It's because we're not millionaires yet.
Well, okay, so let's go into this. On average, it'll take about $350 to $400 to start up a podcast. And that's if you actually get like professional equipment.
A minimum.
Like
I don't know.
professional
I feel like
mics,
that's
get a
really
mixer.
low.
Well, okay, if you're doing a one-person show, you have the mixer. One of the mixers that I found at Guitar Center, because yeah, that's where I did my fucking research, suck my dick. One of the mixers, which was a four input, so you could hook up 4 mics to it, $80.
Okay.
That was the $80 mixer that I
Now,
sent
I feel
you.
like when you're doing your research though, if let's say you're just doing you. Now, not everyone has a computer. Not everybody will have, and it's so hard. You're going to have to figure out what is it best for you. Because we didn't start off like that.
Because even for murder, I had to actually upgrade my computer. The laptop that I had was just a Chromebook. It served its purpose. I didn't use the laptop for anything other than surfing the fucking web. Why did I need something more than that, right?
Yeah.
And so I upgraded, but because I didn't have the money to invest in the time, I just bought like a really cheap laptop. It worked for the time being. It served its purpose. Yeah. We downloaded Audacity, which is a free audio recording program.
For a second, I thought you said Audacity, like that's what men have.
Oh, no.
That's what, yeah, you can down. That's where the men get it. It's an easy download.
It's an easy download of Audacity. Yeah, but no, Audacity was the program that I used for Murder on the 420 Express when we first started because it was a free program. Gotcha. And Mandy bought a USB microphone. And so that's what we used. We had this USB microphone, this small little microphone, and that's what we recorded on. And listen, and if you are starting out and you don't have the funds, but you want to do a podcast, I'm telling you right now, it is better to just start and hope for the best audio quality and use programs on because you can look those up as well too, that balance out your audios in your automatically, the computer just does it. There are programs and little apps that you can add on to do that. But anyways, just start. Even if your audio sounds like shit, dude, just fucking start. That's like the best advice that I can give
Only
anybody
you
that
are
wants
standing
to
in your way.
start a podcast, is just fucking start it. And
Yep.
there are plenty of like decent USB audio microphones that you can find on Amazon. And because I have one and it works really great. I've used it for ASMR videos at one point. Like, it's okay if it's not name brand. But if we're talking about someone who's solo dolo, already has a computer, you've got a mixer that's $80, a Shure's microphone for podcasting, $300. So that right there already lands you in that range.
Yeah.
So recording equipment, mic, headphones. I love headphones. Why? I like hearing myself talk.
I just like to know what I sound like, even though I absolutely hate listening to myself. When we record, I even hate it whenever like they used to like play back my calls when I worked for the bank, like for quality assurance. Like, god damn, like I know I'm fine as fuck. I don't need to listen to myself either. I promise. But I will say like the headphones is super duper important. I know for a lot of people, it can be difficult and even intimidating knowing where to shop. I got everything I have off of Amazon. I have, what the fuck is this? A Blue Yeti. I don't even know what brand these fucking headphones are, but I got them for $40 on Amazon. And depending on like who you are, we usually will record together in person, but because of where we live in the winter, we record separately and through Zoom. So then you have to account for subscriptions if you're going to have hosts, or like co-hosts or like guests on your podcast. If you're recording, how you're pulling that audio, all of those things. And it's going to take time. I personally don't do any of that. That's what I have Elle for. I create the content, I create the ideas, I give them to her, and she says, all right, I got all the research. Let's go. And I got the audio. I'm like, I just show up and look pretty. The next thing would be to plan and script your episodes. Now, it doesn't sound like when we're saying, oh, be authentically you, right? You're like, how can you be authentically you if you're planning and scripting out your episodes? Believe it or not, you don't have to script out every fucking word.
No.
In fact, we didn't script out our intro and outro, well, our intro for the most part, until recently. But it was because it's trial and error. You and I, we could talk forever, even though we do already talk forever in real life. Yeah. So being able to bring it back to subject, bring it back to what we're discussing. How do we cut from the BS segment to Cheesemid time to, you know, let's talk about our zodiacs because we're both very spiritual. What is popping in the world?
I think those types of the transitions, that's what comes
with the script.
That's what should come naturally, you know, and authentically, is how you switch from topic to topic. It should flow effortlessly. It shouldn't be something
that's what you're
that's
saying.
like
I'm saying the beginning should
forced.
be definitely scripted.
But as far as like planning and scripting out an episode, I mainly have bullet points unless I'm doing an actual skit or a segment that I'm supposed to stay on topic with until I hit that climactic point, and then it just kind of stops. Like with the zodiac thing, I read an entire thing, an entire page. This is it right here. This is all about Aquarius.
That is too much ink wasted.
Not for me, bitch. Not for me. But
I can tell you, like, for the most part, like even today's, my page is just all bullet points.
Yeah, mine's all bullet points too.
But mostly my subjects are just bullet points. It just helps keep the idea where we're at going. I think scripting, I think your outro, intro, or at least your intro, it keeps it concise and the same every time. And then staying on subject. Like if you have different segments in your podcast, keep them the same. Don't change them. Or if you are changing them, do it so rarely. Of course, you have to finagle it around to figure out what works best in what order. But I think keeping things short and sweet and simple is usually the best so far, at least for me, because we could literally talk in circles.
That has happened before.
I mean, that's how we get 2-hour fucking conversations.
That's how we get 2-hour conversations. That is absolutely right. The next step is to record and edit your episode. And this is where the nerves start to come in. If you're like any sort of nervous, sometimes when you hit the record button, it's just like there's a camera on you all of a sudden, even though there's no camera. You're just like, like even at the beginning of this episode, we were staring so deeply, intently into each other's eyes.
Oh, like who's gonna break the silence?
Nobody's gonna exactly.
We didn't even have a conversation about what we were gonna say. We're like, no, wait, who's gonna speak?
But with all of your equipment set up and your episode planned and scripted, hit that record button and just start fucking talking, because the minute you start talking, everything starts to go the way that it's supposed to go.
Yep. And however the divine says, speak, bitch.
Speaketh, bitch. So, but like right now we're using Zoom, and Zoom has some pretty decent audio recording software already, which is downloaded into both an MP4 and an MP3, which is actually really nice. I like that. But when we are together, I have started incorporating GarageBand because I have a sound mixer. When before I didn't, I was using Audacity. So
what men choose to have.
Just within starting this podcast back in August to now, we have used 3 separate recording platforms. So you don't have to stick to just one. You can find which one works best for you, and you can go from there. I love Audacity, but you can only do so much in that program. GarageBand to me is like 10 times better. But it can always get better. There's other audio software that you can get. It's just it's not free. You may have a 7-day free trial, but bitch,
you better do a lot in those 7 days, ho.
They're doing a lot. They're doing too much.
Trial and error. Not everything that works for us will work for you. And as you can obviously tell, I think the audio from even our first episode to today's episode is so different.
Drastically different.
It's so different. The subjects that we're talking about, so different. How we talk, so different. I think in the beginning, I was very nervous. This is not, like I'm not experienced. This is my very first rodeo. I don't even listen to podcasts. I was just like, I just want to talk. I could talk all day about anything. And it's so funny because half the time, like, I don't want to talk because I talk for a fucking living. I'm just like, fuck it. But like, I have so much life to share. And instead of writing out a memoir, let's fucking record this bitch.
I love talking. I love this in general. Like I would have never thought that like podcasting or creating a podcast would be
so enjoyable.
Something I saw myself doing, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Which is really weird because
when I was art.
When I was a senior in high school, I actually was looking around at the different radio stations to see if they were accepting any interns so that I could learn how to be a radio disc jockey. And if that is not the same fucking thing as this, then I don't know what is. Do you know what I mean? Like just doing like a radio show. Like I don't know if you remember that radio show on the rock station when we lived in Vegas.
Which one?
I don't remember the name, dude. But
I remember 94.1 is the mix station. By the way, they are still very much still popping.
94.5 maybe.
I don't know.
I don't remember. But
I just for sure remember 94.1.
In Phoenix, it's the Holmberg show, like on the rock station. That's the show I used to listen to. Even out here in Reno, there's the Rob, Anybody, and Dawn show.
Yes.
And
or the Elle and A show.
Or you have like shows like Howard Stern. Like those are radio shows that are technically legitimately the first type of podcast was a radio show. You can't tell me that it's not. It's literally the same fucking thing. So, which is funny because, like I said, when I was a senior in high school, I was looking to be an intern at a radio station to become a disc jockey. I even asked.
Look at you living out your dream.
I even asked the DJ at my mom's wedding, like, "Hey, how do you do this?
Like, how do you do this?
How do you become a DJ? Like a disc jockey? I want to know. I want to know." And I think I just wasn't really given the proper guidance, and maybe that's why I didn't fall into it at first, and it's taken me so long to just fall into the niche itself because it wasn't properly guided to me. There wasn't any there wasn't a lot of help, if I'm being honest. I feel like it was kind of,
I think a lot of people gatekeep. I hate that term, but I feel like a lot of people are just like, I had to figure it out on my own. You can too. And not a whole lot of great mentors.
No, definitely not. And it didn't help that I was bouncing from state to state at the time. So there wasn't a lot of stability just in my home life. You know what? Then fine. If I'm not going to blame it or push the blame onto the fact that there wasn't a lot of mentors, because let's face the reality of it. I didn't stay in one place long enough to find a mentor, nor did I have the correct motivation to find one because I was too concerned with other things going on in my life, if we're being honest, because that's literally what happened and how it rolls sometimes, you know.
Well, look at you now, bitch. Look at you now.
That's the perfect description of like it was the right thing, wrong time.
Yeah. You spent all this time to get here. Oh.
Yeah.
It happens.
A long lesson to be learned.
Yeah. And here we are, girl. Here we fucking are. Now, after you're done recording and editing and you've like figured out your bullshit and all of the tech shit, here is starting to get a little bit more of the fun part. Besides actually just recording, right? We're going to be publishing and distributing your episodes.
Hell yeah.
This is probably the fun part.
This is prime time.
Putting it out there. This is the fun part. You're just like, yeah, I'm on Spotify, bitch. Like, I'm on Apple. I'm on Anchor. Like, so I'm out there. It's published. Like, I'm official.
Yes. So when again, I've always launched on anchor.fm because that's where we launched Murder. That's the website that Amanda told me to do the whole podcast thing on because that's how she found out about it. So I've always used Anchor. I've never had a problem with Anchor. I love them. It's a really great first step and it's free. Yes. You can launch your podcast for free on anchor.fm. I've never seen it cost anyone money.
Yeah, I don't think it does.
And they have all kinds of cool features. Now, the features that they have, also this episode is not sponsored, okay? Though we would love to be fucking sponsored.
Anytime now.
Right?
Cough, cough, wink, wink.
So there's a lot of things on Anchor that are really cool now. So they've always had listener enabled support. And that's where your listeners could contribute to your podcast like at any time. Any type of money that they want to, like 50 cents, $1, $5. you could enable listener support. Now they offer subscriptions. So you can have certain episodes be monetized by subscription purposes only. So those who have a subscription to listen to you they have exclusive episodes. So that's fucking cool. They also have
I think that's
ads.
pretty dope.
The ads are really fun. They find little ads for you to do. One that Murder had was for Anchor, and it was so fun to record because you get to record them yourself and then you get to add them to your episode and they'll place it for you. They'll play it for you, and any listen is money in your pocket. It's really easy.
Get your bag, baby. Hey.
But yeah, so publishing and distributing your episodes, Anchor also distributes it for you to other podcast platforms. That's how you get on Apple, Google, Spotify. Well, now Spotify owns Anchor, so you don't even have to worry about that. But it'll distribute your podcast for you, which is really, really nice.
Probably the best part because it literally minimizes what you're doing and how much work you're having to already. You already have to do so much in order to create your content, figure out what the hell you're doing, editing and recording. The least you can do is make it a little bit easier on yourself by finding something that'll help distribute your content.
Absolutely.
Take the struggle out of it.
Take the struggle. The last one is going to be to promote your show. So finding your targeted audience using social media, email marketing, or other tactics to reach out to potential listeners and to let them know about your show. Like I was telling you earlier, doing the whole TikTok thing for Murder has been a fucking roller coaster, dude. But
it's exciting watching it. I'm not even gonna lie.
But it seems so much easier to produce content for Murder than it does for my own personal page. My own personal page feels like work. This feels like this would be my actual social media account if I had one, which I do.
Oh man. NBD, bro. NBD.
But this is where you get to show up like your cover art. Like for Metal Meets Basic, we have specialized cover art for each episode. And each episode that comes out on Instagram, I'll post a little photo of like, hey, new episode. And it'll say like episode blah blah blah. Blah 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 with like a little picture in the middle. And I think that's like a really great way to advertise that, hey, I have a new episode out. You might want to go take a fucking listen to it.
Yeah, don't be a fucking square, losers. Also, when you are promoting your show, things that I didn't realize would be so hard is the promotion. So I joined 100%. a couple of groups, and it is said over and over and over and over and over. We have yet to do it and I think we should, is being a guest on someone else's podcast that is doing very well. Being a guest on somebody else's podcast that gets listens, gets downloads. Don't just sell yourself, but like find a podcast that you can be on, a podcast that you align with. That you can add to theirs, you know what I mean? And then promote yourself, promote your podcast, because that in networking is so important. You sharing on like Facebook, these people are not going to go. Your grandma Ruth is not going to go onto your fucking Spotify, bitch. She ain't going to look up Apple. Your great grandmother fucking Becky. No.
Into it, man. I don't know. My grandma was hella supportive.
I will let you know right now. My mom found out how much fucking so much dick I be taking. She'd be like, "Nope, I'm out. I'm outie 5,000." 5,000. I didn't realize my daughter was a hoe, but
No, we
My
haven't been a
godmother doesn't want
guest.
to listen to this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I could tell
No.
you right now, you need to find your people, not, and I say this, no disrespect to people who use Facebook for networking, but I feel like that is one of the worst platforms. I have found TikTok to be really booming. I have found Instagram to be really great. Twitter is definitely a place for great promotion, but nah, I wouldn't put my podcast on there. I put my ass on there. So it's just like getting yourself onto other podcasts. That has been the number one recommendation to me when I joined groups on Facebook. That was like their biggest thing. Like, I found a group that does strictly guest speaking. So like they put in there like, hey, I have an episode and this is what the subject would be about. Is anybody fluent in this? Like, do you have any takes? Like, I'm looking for somebody who can debate on this subject. I want to be able to go back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's super important. I know for a minute we had done babe episodes.
We put that on the back burner for a minute.
We did, and I think it was for good reason. And I have no ill feelings about it, just how one episode went very sour and it left a very disgusting taste in my mouth. And I didn't feel like we were being taken seriously. And so you and I had made a decision to put it on the back burner until we could figure out the best way to have a guest on our show. And I know other people probably have contracts or they have a form that they have to fill out. And I think that's something that we are looking at for future guests. And until we solidify what that looks like, I feel like people also should be very aware, like when you have a guest on your show, this is something that we learned a little bit the hard way just because we didn't have it go sideways the first time. We actually had an amazing first guest. Like she was just super fluid, very easygoing, not very nitpicky. Like she was just amazing. And then when we had our second one, somebody who does not listen to us, does not know what our content is like, doesn't know anything about the podcast, but was like, yeah, I'll go on. And I was like, okay, that sounds great. Like, we're just happy to have a guest on the podcast. Like, we're just super pumped. Like, we are huge into promoting like small businesses. And then when that experience went sideways, it wasn't even so much like the episode recording was bad. It was what happened after the recording. It was the don't edit my pictures this way, but like I shouldn't be editing your pictures. Like we should not be doing that. You should come to us ready to go. This to
like
us,
this is the picture that we're going to be putting on social media for your promotion.
yes.
I assume that just posting it as is the way that it should go.
How it comes to me, it's how I'm giving it out. And I did not like how we were being like manhandled almost. And it definitely left a taste in my mouth that I did not like. And it was a subject that you and I had a conversation about we need to pull back. We need to reevaluate who we are requesting to come on the show, who we would love to be on our show, and finalizing that contract because I don't like it. I did not like how we were treated. And this is our baby. And I feel like when you, the listener, and when you're creating something from scratch, you should be so personal about it. You should guard that egg with your life because anybody who comes on disrespects your egg, disrespects you, the creator, you get real you'll get real cat-like. Like I was very offended.
You're always ready for a fight. Okay.
I am. And you know what, surprisingly, because I love this person and I respect that person so much, I 100% pulled a you and I'm not confrontational with people that I love. I'm ready to fight anybody who threatens my people. So, because I love this person, I respect this person, I chose to just leave it alone. And I didn't say anything to them about not wanting to re-record. I just said, we'll think about it for the future. We'll figure something out. And that I'm not going to be honest with them about it. Like they're not ever going to listen to our podcast. Let's just be honest. They haven't listened to anything through. And they nitpicked apart the episode, and it just was like weird to me, like how I was treated and how I felt like I had to be the middleman. And I was just like, it's not your podcast. If you don't like the way it sounds, I encourage you to listen to our podcast first and then decide for yourself if this is a podcast that you are comfortable being on. We don't edit a whole lot. We like it to be raw as much as possible. I think we're really big on being authentic, and it's super hard for other people to see it that same way. They want it to be picture perfect, and life is not picture perfect, and neither is our podcast.
Well,
I hope that makes sense.
It's also, what's the way that I can say it? It's not for necessarily entertainment purposes. Like, we're not on here trying to impress anybody or anything like that. More so, this podcast, the intention that is behind it is to find other like-minded individuals like me and you who are also moms, who are also single parents, or who are also married, who also come from different walks of life, and we can come together in a community and realize that, hey, I'm not the only one.
Exactly.
There are other people like me out there, and this is a community in which we are trying to grow that. And
yeah, I want to be friends with people who live off of nothing but fucking caffeine. I want to be friends with a girl who doesn't fucking wash her dishes every day. Like, my dishes are still in my sink from fucking Thursday. Don't come for me.
Which is funny because you're friends with a person who washes their dishes every fucking day.
And I don't fucking judge you. You don't judge me. I do be vacuuming my floor like fucking 5 times, but that's because I got a husky, and I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of eating fucking dog hair.
Listen, don't judge me, but I haven't vacuumed in like over a week. Don't judge me.
Girl, I haven't washed my dishes in 4 days. I mean, is it 4 days? It's been since Thursday.
Girl.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 3 days. Yeah. 3 days.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Like-minded people.
That's
I just say, like, understand what you want, bitch, and go for it. Also, another life update, I got tatted.
Yes.
On my hands, and I didn't like full-blown cry, but I definitely watered eyeballs. My eyeballs were watered so hard. My right one fucking rubbed off my goddamn eyeliner wing. I was like, oh, trying to burn. She goes, relax your hand. I said, I cannot.
Relax your hand. I cannot.
You asking too much. You asking for too much, ma'am.
No, it's so funny.
I just have to like commend people who get their hand tattooed. The hardest part was like right at the cuticle, right above the little cuticle nail part in your hand. That was the most pain. And it was not nice. It was not kind at all. I could tell you my collarbone piece she did, it like made me like breathe a little, like, and I was like, oh, okay, it's almost done. But my hands were by far the most painful part. Not even on the inside of my foot hurt as much as that shit did. And she's like, I have to pack in this black, and I'm real sorry. And it wasn't even so much the bigger needle. It was her small needle that hurt the most. And I was like, oh, I could deck you in the face right now if you don't stop it. I was like, fuck. But I will tell you right now, I told you when I was at the fucking ordering food, I was like, what the fuck is this black shit on my hands?
Oh yeah.
Like that too.
What is this black shit?
I don't forgot.
Oh my God. I never forget. I think I look so cool.
You do.
Care.
I think it changes your whole like personality. I'm going through a metamorphosis right now. Bitch, my mom was like, I don't know
Your
what
personality has changed. Mine has stayed consistent. I don't know about you. Okay. I always envisioned myself covered in tattoos. Okay.
I did not.
My 15-year-old self was like, I'm going to be the hottest bitch and just be covered in tattoos from head to toe, just covered. So for me, like getting my
hand, like this is already normal.
But like getting my hand tattooed, like when I did my big rose,
Yeah.
I remember going into the office and they're just like, "Wow, you don't think that's too much?"
No, I don't think it's enough.
No, because it's not covering my full hand. Like it's fine, dude. 2/3 of my hand is tattooed. This little square right here is just free game.
100%. So the goal is to put the Nordic wheel of protection on my hand. That's what's supposed to go in that empty space. And I was like, I don't think I would have been able to sit through that and what I just went through. I said, I probably would have wanted to die. She looked at me and I was like, it's the skinniest part of my whole body besides my fucking patience. I said, so I'm just, I'm gonna have to think on that again. She was like, yeah. I said, like I feel weird that my left hand is done and my right hand looks a little naked, but I'm gonna need to grow a pair of ovaries again or some fallopian tubes because I ain't got those and figure out when I can muster up enough strength to fucking do my right hand. But my mom was like, I know you're going through a lot of shit, but why the fuck is your hand like that? And I was like, you should be more concerned at the fact that I started on my chest. She goes, no, you fucking didn't. I said, you want to see? And she goes, no, I don't want to fucking see this shit. And I was like, Mom, it's all about purpose and intention. And I tried to explain to her what my tattoos were. And she goes, all you need is Jesus Christ. And I say,
that's the answer for everything. That's the answer for everything. All you just need a little dose of Jesus. Jesus is just a hit away and your happiness and problems will be solved. But pray.
I was like, Mom, did you
Jesus.
forget? I was baptized Catholic. Like, I'm saved. I'm fine. And I got a fucking cross on the back of my neck. I am saved in his eyes.
You know what's so funny? Because me and you both grew up Catholic, right? But more specifically Roman Catholic.
Yes.
And it's so funny that you say that I've already been baptized. I was like, by golly, you are right, miss. I've already been baptized. My sins, the ones I have yet to commit, are already saved.
I have been saved.
All I have to do,
bitch.
All I have to do is get on my knees and beg for forgiveness. Say, God, wash me of my mortal sins.
Me of my
I'm so sorry I did that shit. Am I saved? And he'll be like, God Almighty, you are my child. Yes.
Praise you.
Or sorry, you God Almighty or me Almighty.
Peace be with you, bitch.
God fucking says it. He's just like, you have been saved. You've been baptized already. You just say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Great. Let's go back to living life. The whole reason why I created.
Don't worry, Mom. I'll hit up confession on Saturday. Don't you worry. I can still get my holy water on Sunday.
Did you know they sell the holy wafers online?
Oh my God. What?
Yeah. They sell the holy wafers online. You can get a fucking little tube of it like this big.
The fucking little breads?
Yeah. The communion breads.
You know what? I really believed
the body of Christ. You can
I
buy
really
it
thought it was the body of
Christ. Plus shipping and handling.
I was just like, isn't this like cannibalism? Why am I eating Jesus?
You know, I didn't even know it was a wafer until they gave it to me. And I also didn't even know. I didn't know that it was wine that they were giving
me either.
Me.
I thought I was a fucking vampire.
I thought I was actually drinking blood. I was like, yo, this is
I was like, I can't tell people what I do on Sundays. They're going to think I'm an animal.
They're going to burn the church down.
I'm a witch.
Dude, I was getting the wine so often after my communion on Sundays, dude, that my mom stepped in and was like, "You're not getting any more, bro."
Yo, my mom would stop going to church with us after I had my Holy First Communion. I think even after my confirmation, bro. Yeah. And I would just be up there every Sunday. I'd be like, "Give me this biatch."
You better give me them wafers. Can I get 2 of those?
I'm a little big. I need 2.
Hey, altar boy, I'm gonna need 2. I wonder if pregnant bitches were like that. I'm eating for 2.
Me and the baby, we both need to be saved.
We need a double dose. What happened on this weekend that I'm about to go to confession about? I need a double dose of the body of Christ.
How often did you go to confession, bitch? Because my mom made me go every Saturday.
I only went once, and it was in preparation for my communion. Yo. It's the only time I ever went.
My mom told me I couldn't get the bread and wine without having gone to confession. And so I was like, all right, I be in there every Saturday. I kissed so-and-so. I done this. I done that. Senor Jesus Cristo, I use your name in vain, bitch. Oh, and I also said fuck you to my mom, but it was only in my head and not out loud because she would have beat my ass.
I think after all of the scandal with the Roman church that came through, it started when my parents got divorced, that I stopped going to church.
Oh, dear Jesus. Oh, I'm sorry, Mom.
Holy Mary.
Fuck. You know what?
Save me.
Penelope last night, she goes, Jesus Christ. And she's fucking screaming it because she can't. She's figuring something out on the Roblox. And she goes, Jesus Christ. And my mom goes, eh. And Penelope goes, what?
What?
And my mom's like, you can't say it like that. And she goes, I said, your abuela is very sensitive to the bald-headed baby. We have to show respect when we are on the phone with her. I said, you can say anything else. She goes, freaking freak. And my mom was like, hijo su pinche. And I said, listen, pick your battles, bro. Pick them. Pick them.
Do you want him to say Jesus Christ or freaking freak? Like,
oh my God. Have you heard fucking Penelope? What the hell did she say? Oh my, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Oh. You gotta be freaking kidding me. That's like her favorite phrase. Freaking kidding me. And it's about everything. Everything. Like I could be like, yo, you can't have cereal. You gotta be freaking kidding me. Hey, you need to go clean your room. Freaking kidding me. My sister didn't pick up her shoes. You gotta be freaking kidding me. Look at this bottle, Mom. Freaking
she's
kidding
hella
me.
mad. She's like,
you saw that fucking video when she was like, I allowed the kids to say their bad words.
Yeah.
And girl, both her and Sophia had to have been fucking thinking about this shit forever because they said it with their whole fucking chest.
I know.
Sophia said bitch so fucking fast. I was like,
she said it with her chest too. She was like, bitch. She enunciated every consonant in that word. Bitch.
I know she
like it's that. Her favorite word.
To me. She didn't say it for the video. She said it to me. I could feel it in my bones. She called me a bitch. And then Penelope right after that, fuck you. You couldn't see my face behind the camera, but I was shook.
Tell me how you really feel.
She said, and then the fucking second time she goes, fuck you, bitch. And then she goes, and I was like, no. No.
She was like, fuck you, bitch. And your motherfucking problem. I want to let her fucking finish out. I want to know what you gotta say.
She started laughing so hard. I said, I know. No, we agreed to 2. She was ready, bro.
That was 3. She said, bitch. First she said, fuck you. Then she said, fuck you, bitch. That was 3.
You said a whole complete sentence, woman.
Yes.
That is a full-on sentence of fuck you.
Very true.
I was just like, God damn. Tell me how you feel, girls, but not on camera. Thank you.
You recorded it.
I did. They have been begging to fucking do this shit for like fucking 2-3 weeks. I guess they saw it on a trend. And I was just like, no, like, absolutely not. No, no. Because I didn't want them to feel like they could do it so that they wouldn't, I don't want them to be comfortable enough to cuss where then it would become a problem at school and like disrespecting their teachers. And so when I said, finally caved in, I said, all right, fine. And grab my fucking phone. And Sophia said that first word. I had never been so shook in my life. She said that shit with her chest, bitch. I watched that video like fucking 4 times already. And I was like, man, she was not just saying a bad word. She was cussing my ass out. Yeah, so I won't be doing that trend again.
I won't be doing that no more.
No, ma'am. Not today. Not today.
Well, thank you for tuning in to Metal Meets Basic. We hope you enjoyed this episode and found it informative and entertaining on some level. If you have any feedback or suggestions for future topics, Cheesemate, or want to leave us a review, please don't hesitate to reach out. Send us an email at metalmeetsbasic.com or at gmail.com. Oh, wow. I just missed the whole fucking ad. Anyway, be sure to follow us on TikTok and IG at metalmeetsbasic to stay up to date on new episodes and other updates. Until next time.
Ciao.